request Dr. Nitin Sharma sir to welcome our co-chairperson. I request Dr. Nitin Sharma sir to welcome our chairperson and co-chairperson. Welcome sir. Welcome madam. It's my immense pleasure to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Shrikant Babu Peragu sir, Director, Department of Ayush, Government Telangana, and PG Professor and HOD, Department of Kaya Chikitsa, Government Ayurveda Medical College, Hyderabad. Sir has over 30 years of clinical, academical and research experience in Ayurveda, treated more than 3.5 lakh patients in his clinical practice. Sir is also authored many books, published several research papers in renowned scientific papers. It's my pride to tell that Sir headed the first fully funded integrated research project on mucormycosis in Telangana, thus introducing Ayurveda treatment into ICU setup in Gandhi Hospital. Sir as an editor of Indriyasthan of Charaka Samhita. Sir is also serving as a Senate member of KNRUHS, PG BOS member Kaya Chikitsa, Banaras Hindu University. As a part of innovation in Ayurveda, Sir has introduced modified Vardhamana Pippali Prayoga in OPD practices and applied Tailatoni practice for the treating of complex clinical disorders. As a feather of cap, Sir also received various awards like Ayurgenika, that is Ayurveda Icon Award, Vishwaguru World Record, Outstanding Doctor Award, Dhanvantari Awards and Best Teacher Award. So we are very proud and honored for your presence, sir. So over to you, sir.
It's on YouTube. Live is there, sir.
This is needed.
Yes, sir. Both needed, sir. It's for live.
Yeah. You're giving it live also.
Ah, sir, live. It's going live.
Oh,
yes.
I was not aware about it.
Yes,
Okay, okay. Good evening, all of you. Good evening, all of you. Good evening, all of you. Coming to the last session is really difficult. So I request all the audience to wake up and we'll do one small activity. I say number, so if I say 1, you need to clap once. If I say 2, you need to clap twice. Okay? Let us start the activity. 1, 2, 3, 1. Thank you. Thank you for being awake and welcoming me with your heartful claps. Thank you. So I'm going to restrict my presentation only to the principles of management of obesity. I'm not going to give you any clinical data, publication data and other things. I'll be sharing the clinical expertise which we were doing it since more than 3 decades. So, as I was not there yesterday and today, perhaps much of the general literary point of disease might have been covered, but I would like to draw your attention to only one point mentioned by Hemachandra about obesity. A state of mind, a state of overnutrition of body and reduced intellect. This is very important, reduced intellect. This has been contributed by Hemachandra. I am ignoring other references here. You know about 2 distributions of body fat into gynoid and android as they have been narrated, because I am just quickly weaning up the essentials to deal the management of obesity principles. So I'll just pull up the important aspects before you and then I'll go for the management principles. So this is commonly seen in gender specific distributions. So this is, Staulyata is been a factor from 8 despicable people like Ati Staulya, Ati Krisha. I would like to draw the demography of the disease. So prior to going to the Vikruti, I'm talking about Prakriti. So quickly, I'm not going to detail, actually this is a big sloka, everybody know about it, but just I would like to quickly mention here, Sama Mamsa Pramana, Sama Samhanana, Dhridendriya, Vyadinam na Balena Bhibhuyate, Kshut Pipasa Atapasaha, Sita Vyayama, Samsaha, Samapakta, Samajara, Sama Mamsa Chaya. The contemporary English translations are being displayed on the screen. I'm not going to take much of time on these translations. So I quickly remind you about the metabolism happens in GIT to draw the important mechanisms how a obese diet or obese premonitory mechanism leads to fatty liver. So which has been very commonly identified in younger adults and adults. So you know triglycerides, limited hydrolysis of triglycerides to diglycerides and fatty acids occur due to the activity of swallowed lingual lipase, where this is important because we are not giving sufficient time for churning the food in the mouth. We are all spending very little time over the food. So this particular physiological mechanism, I am not talking about pathology here. Second point, intraluminal fat releases cholecystokinin, which is popularly called as CCK, which stimulates gallbladder contraction and releases the sphincter of Oddi, so resulting the bile to enter into the duodenum. Where this mechanism is obliterated, it will be reversal. So fatty material, emulsified materials will be rebounded to the endohepatic circulations, and they'll be leading to enterohepatic circulations, and they'll be causing fatty liver. I just want to remind you this particular mechanism, then we'll go for the corresponding areas. So what is essentials for obesity? Bahudosha Lakshana. This is Bahudosha Lakshana. Staulya itself is Bahudosha Lakshana. Sleshma Nanatmaja Vikara, Santarpana Janya Vikara, Rasa Nimittaja, and Ati Staulya, it focuses much on Medas. So I don't read about all these things. See the Vagbhata's narration, Adhika, Madhyama, Hina, which has a striking resemblance with the body mass index, which we are using as a parameter. So what are the diagnostic tools? So most of them are, instead of investigations, you can go for proper clinical history to understand why obesity is been precipitating. So you can look into the galaxy of the investigations, BMI outlet indications, body weight and height ratio, SFT, skin fold thickness, so waist and hip ratios, BMDs and plethysmographs, etc. And for research purpose, all those investigations also will help. So coming to the important aspect, obesity or Staulya, you need to understand these two factors as an essential factors. We speak much about exogenous factors and we ignore endogenous factors. But as a physician, dietitians will do exogenous factors, whereas a physician, we need to look into endogenous factors. How we can look into that, how we can plan for correcting the endogenous factors will be the coming part of my presentation. So what are Ayurvedic diagnostic tools available? Chakshurindriya Pariksha Bhava, Trivida Parikshas, Astavida Pariksha, where Akruti Pariksha comes into this, Pramana, Pariksha Pramana, and Samhanana Pariksha, like which can be compared with skin fold thickness, and Dasavida Parikshas, if you look, anthropometries, like etc. things can be coming into the Ayurvedic diagnostic tool kits. So Samprapti, this also I will not explain because this is not a theory class. I will be just drawing you how best you can improve on your prescriptions and holding the patient for a longer duration to give him better quality of life. So these are the essentials to know about the disease. So this is one important area I would like to draw all of your attention, please. Thermic effect of physical activity. So if you speak to many of the people nowadays, they say that we go for a morning walk. We do morning walk. What for you are doing morning walk? Morning walk, that's all. So they'll go like 10 people, 8 people, they will go speaking to each other, playing jokes. They walk for 1 hour, they come back, and it is not useful for any sort of weight management. So you require to input your inhalated, good quality of inhalated oxygen to your body. You should pump oxygen to that and spend aerobic metabolism into the activity. Then only we call it as vyayama. So thermic effect of physical activity, it starts when you start walking on a normal pace. After 20 minutes, your heart starts beating to 100+ rate. So this includes burning of the calories. After that only burning of calories will come, and not prior to that. Unfortunately, we walk for 15 minutes. We sit there, we take a call, conference call or something, then we hear some music, we talk to some other people, then we walk for another 10 minutes, we sit there. So which are not coming as a therapeutic protocol of Vyayama. So this is my energy calculations. Resting metabolic expenditure. We ignore this point also. So we are all sitting here, how we can improve our expenditure of energy. So like moving our hands regularly, moving our foot regularly, taking proper breathing, and making as many as micro movements possible in that particular area whenever it is feasible. So this is second point. Thermic effect of food, as I was talking about, exogenous factor. The food should not be cool. It should be always warm, especially when you want to plan for management of obesities or weight managements. You require this to be maintained in a normal room temperature. So there are two important aspects. Of course, admixed one is third. Hypertrophic obesity. If you go take the adipose tissue, put into a microscope, see it, single cell will be bloated, enlarged adipose cell. This is called hypertrophic. Hyperplastic, multiple cells in the same bit, multiple cells. So this actually we should be more cautious, because cell division is being deranged, and this type of hyperplastic obesities tend to go for malignancies, in a near future. So whenever a patient comes with hyperplastic obesity, we should be more careful and more composed in writing a prescription and prescribing a diet chart or activity chart or rest chart, everything. So both also can be available in one patient. So as common nidanas, to bring it like a disease pattern for the students' convenience, ahara, vihara, manasika, rasayana, vrishya, atisevana, bija dosha, and anya doshas. I'll not deal each factor in detail. I'll just touch the brief points, then I'll go for the important aspects. So atisampurna, ahara, atisampurna, excessive eating, overeating, bhojananantara jalapana, etc. So vyayama, I told you about avyayama, diva swapna, asana sukha, swapna prasanga, etc. And manasika hetus, harshana, nityatvam. So whenever you are more towards enjoyment or harshana, this also becomes as a nidana for obesity. So achintyam, so you are not thinking about anything. So make people to focus on something, so give them some sort of mental activities which are constructive. So like this, you require priya bhashana, priya darshana, saukhyam, etc. So another important aspect, you are seeing the adolescent people or teenagers, below teenagers, they are becoming more obese as bija dosha. You can see increased proportion of shukra and decreased proportion of sonita lead to potent body with a lean structure. Increased proportion of sonita, decreased proportion of shukra, stout but weak body. So like this, you can make prepositions which are available in the classical text. So Rasayana, Vrushya, Atisevana, Narasimha Rasayanas. Now you can see many people, they use Kushmanda Rasayana as a general tonic, or Chavanaprasa as a general tonic, or anything, Ashwagandha as a general tonic, Shatavari as a general tonic. Without, they don't consult anybody, they just go on eating. Even many of the doctors I have seen, they are consuming Shatavari, Ashwagandha, morning one Shatavari, afternoon one Ashwagandha, evening one Yashtimadu. They say, we are going for Rasayana therapy. I don't know how it amounts for the Rasayana therapies. I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just telling you, over usage or abuse of Rasayana and Vrushya concept will lead. And I remind all of you about this 9 modes of mechanism. I draw your attention, pay attention for this. 9 modes of mechanism related to the weight management. Defective thermogenesis or inactivity. I told you in the previous slides. Excess food intake, excessive lipid deposits, abnormality of autonomous innervations, diminished lipid metabolism, decreased lipolytic hormones. We need to evaluate all of them. Then aging process. This is also important. Defective adipose cell, defective lipid oxidation. So this is very, very important factor, very much ignored factor in the clinical practice. We need to ask the patient to take appropriate breathing patterns. Otherwise, he is not going to be benefited much by our prescriptions. So we have seen few papers in the last session also, like Udvartanas, how they are very much useful. See where is the most amount of fat you are seeing? Subcutaneous layer. So it is easily understood how Udvartanas are more useful for subcutaneous fat. So you use anything, Kolikulatadi you can use, even Sukshma Trifala you can use. The drug is not important, the technique is important. How much pressure you put on subcutaneous tissue and how you handle the area during Udvartana. This is very important. If you do excessively, the wrinkles will come. If you do less, skin loses its tonicity and patients will not continue the management because they need to go for skin tightening treatments at the consecutive clinics. So I don't want to focus on other areas actually. So these are the common signs and symptoms. Just for the brief weaning, I'm just showing this slide, and these are all the symptoms of obesity. I would like to draw your attention on one term called krathana. Krathana. Because most of the patients come to our clinic with a complaint that snoring is the suffering. Because snoring, they don't suffer. Who will suffer? The surrounding people will suffer. If we sleep in 10 members room, 10 members will be awake and they complain about our snoring. We sleep very comfortably. So for such term, if you want to give a medical diagnostic feature, krathana is the right term, krathana. So these are a few more symptoms. I usually go with a color-coded presentations, as this is a last presentation. I'm not going to give you more theoretical applications here. So each group of lakshanas, they help us to understand the pathogenesis so that we can give a better and updated prescriptions. So the upadravas, how we understand, if patient is diabetic and obese, then think about insulin resistance, where whatever the medication you give, it will not be useful for him unless you make him to go for Vyayama. How a obese diabetic patient should be put into Vyayama is not narrated in Prameha Chikitsa or any other Chikitsas. In Sutrasthana, Charaka Sutrasthana, they give how a person can be made fit to go for an activity. If somebody is reluctant to go for an activity, how to make them to go for activity. They give tips like that. So infertilities, if you are going for Vrushya Rasayanas, then you should be more careful that it may increase plasticity of the cells. So if a person is more prone for cardiac problems because of manasika lakshanas, manasika factors. Because obesity is not directly linked up with the mortality or morbidity of the individual. Because of the stress, unseen stress undergoing by the patient will cause cardiac issues. Cholelithiasis, I told you about CCK mechanism, cholecystokinase mechanism, where cholelithiasis and fatty livers and cholelithiasis, cholecystitis, etc. conditions will come. They may also lead to arbuda. These are all the upadravas what we can understand. Degeneration of bone and joint disorders because of the weight-bearing joints. Metabolism is stopped at medodhatu, so byproducts of all other areas will be affected. The quality of upadhatus will be affected. So snayu, other things will not be strong enough to hold the joints properly. That's the reason why bone and joint problems. Because they are not taking proper breath, peripheral circulations will be obliterated. That's the reason why skin diseases. So you need to go for the root cause so that you can minimize the medication and give an effective remedy to the individual. 1 second, please. So usually colleges give a wrong reference for management of obesity. Guru cha apatarpanam. Actually, the Charaka says Guru cha atarpanam. It is not apatarpanam. So to bring your attention onto that, because a lot of senior faculty are there, senior teachers, they can circulate this information to the students so that next generation will be corrected with the proper transmission of the knowledge. So this has a lot of impact. Guru cha atarpanam. So coming to the management principles, instantly we can increase the clinical efficacy by adapting to these simple tips. Pragbhakta kale krusikarana aushadha sevana. Pragbhakta kale. Morning only we should give as a single dose. Instead of giving Navaka Gugulu 2 tablets 3 times a day or 2 tablets 2 times a day. So instead of that, correct the dosage, give it only on the morning, empty stomach. And in addition to that, you have another reference, Lekana Aushadhi, it will be working more in the early morning. So we have appropriate references fixed on the screen itself. So you correct the administrating time, Aushadha Sevana Kala, which comes under posology. So that will increase the clinical efficacy. So usually we go by Nidana Parivajana, Shodhana and Shamana. For Medoroga, Nidana Parivajana, Samshamana and Samshodhana as a last option. Because this is a Bahudosha Janya Vyadhi, yet we are not going to do the Samshodhana as a second option. We need to correct the internal system because unless Agni is handled properly, digestion is re-established to the near normalcy, we cannot go for purifications actually. So to draw the importance of this sequence, I'm making an exclusive slide on this. So simple tips. So if your patients want immediate benefit as per Ashtanga Hridaya Sutra Sthana, consume cold water before food. Cold water consumption is not good for weight management, but for shorter time you can advise so that his intake can be controlled. The quantities, the first challenge in hospital when an obese patient comes to the doctor is, what is that? The first complaint when he says that I am obese or you identify that obese, what is the suggestion we give? Eat less, work more, right? Which is practically non-acceptable because he is already weak because of the obesity. You are asking him to consume lesser food, low calorie foods, and you are again asking him to go for Bharadva Gamana, etc., which are not matching. So he will start changing the doctors, clinics and other things. He will land up into some unqualified spas and he will go into complications. So here we need to be more cautious in handling the patient for a longer duration to give him the better clinical efficacy. So simply, so what we have adopted a simple modified modality in Hyderabad Kaya Chikitsa department. I head the department of Kaya Chikitsa in Hyderabad actually. So Hyderabad is famous for perils and Hyderabad is also famous for biryanis. So all our patients, they come. If you say don't eat biryani, they will just smile at you and they will leave. So this is the problem in the beginning. So we don't ask them now to reduce the biryanis. We ask them which biryani you eat, how much quantity. You continue that. We add up to that bigger size vegetables, vegetable cuts in a bigger size, kira, not like round slices as were projected in the earlier slides by other speakers. We cut the kira into 4 pieces. So they should chew it and eat. As I told you, lingual lipase, how it improves the quality of metabolism. So we add large-sized vegetable cuts to the regular quantity of food, whatever it is, biryani or anything, we add to that. So we instruct the patient, you may leave biryani, but you cannot leave one piece of vegetable. So if you do this activity for 15 days, what will happen? Vegetable is an alkaline media, you know, you are giving it in a stula ahara form, it will not get digested quickly. So his appetite is taken care, his fluid levels, fiber levels are taken better care. So automatically after 15 days, his hunger signals are regulated. I don't say thoroughly controlled, they are regulated. Now you can tell him, you control your food like this, then he will accept. But if we say the same suggestion 15 days earlier, he will never stick on to the clinics. So this is very important to hold the patient at the clinic for a longer duration. So Samshamana Chikitsas, we speak about Pachana and Deepana, or Deepana and Pachana, Vyayama. As I told you, Guru, Apatarpana, Maruta Atapa Sevana, Kshut, Trishna, Nigrahana. So all these things, as I told you, we are giving them vegetable cuts in a bigger way, without adding salt, without adding lemon, without adding pepper for the vegetables, only raw vegetables, cut vegetables. So this will go for Kshut, Trishna, Nigrahana and Marutatapa Sevana. We don't ask the patient to go in the early hours for the walking. We'll ask them to go little late when sun and wind comes to them, sun exposure. So this also helps them to develop more of vitamin D related issues where they help a lot for the patient. And Deepana Pachanas, here I would like to remind all the youngsters, students, PG scholars and younger generation, don't keep Deepanas, Pachanas for longer duration. I mean, longer duration means I'm not talking about months and other things. You should restrict Deepana Pachanas only for 2 weeks. If you are going for more than 2 weeks, Mutra Kruchra will be the first sign, later renal function impairment will be the complication. So when you want to give Deepana Pachana, you should be very apt in assessing the cost of the patient, adapting the drug and application of the formulation. So you want to give it in Fanta form, or you want to give it in Grita form, or you want to give it in Thyla form, or you want to give it in Kalka form, whatever it is. You need to be more cautious in choosing the formula, application of the formula to the patient. So these are few more added tools for managing the obesity. Vacha Haridradigana, you are looking, Vacha Haridradigana. So Vacha Haridradigana helps in cephalic part of appetite as modern medicines GLP and GAP2, GAP1 and GLP2, they are reducing the cephalic part of appetite. So like that in Ayurveda also we have brought out some medication like Vacha Haridradigana, Varadigana for the regulation of the digestive areas. Then Varunadigana where there is accumulation, smaller accumulations, Sangha of Meda in different areas, different channels. Basing on the channels, you can use Varunadigana. and Bruhat Kravyadi, especially in abdominal obesities, abdominal omental sedimentations. This will be around 20 to 25% of sedimentations will be on abdomen. For that, Bruhat Kravyadi Rasa. I don't recommend Bruhat Kravyadi Rasa for a longer duration. In spells, you can go for that. Then Gomutra. So we'll quickly analyze how Navayasa Loha or Navayasa Gugulu are going to be a wonderful formula. We say all lipolytic or Medohara drugs essentially will have Nava Ayasas. Nava groups, Trimada, Trikatu, Trifala. The only addition of Loha or Gugulu makes the difference in the formula. Trimada contains Vidanga, Musta and Chitraka. You see Vidanga, Musta, Chitraka, they help controlling encephalic part of appetite, reduces the cravings, late night cravings or late evening cravings. Trikatu improves the digestion, assimilation, absorption and excretion, whereas Trifala adds multi reinforcement for the absorption and excretion, finer absorption and excretion, where micronutrient absorptions can be taken care by Trifala. That is the reason they have formulated like Trimada, Trikatu, Trifala. If you look into simple Trimadas also, Vidanga works on this area, absorption and excretion. Musta works on cephalic part, Chitraka works on abdominal. Even Trimada itself is a good formula. So if you want to improve the Medho Agni, go for Navayasa Gugulu. If you want to go for Raktagni also, then Navayasa Loha. Simple physiological adaptations here. So this is the new modalities what we were talking. Vardhamana Prayogas. I doubt whether we can call it as Vardhamana Prayoga, but still it is a concept adapted from the Vardhamana Prayogas. We are not using 1000 pipalis on any patient, and we are not using any classical Vardhamana yogas which are being mentioned in the text and been depicted in the text for thousands of years. We want to bring it to the clinical usage. So we have adapted this simple mechanism. Not only for obesity, we are using for malignancies where disease, Vyadhi Tivrata is progressive. Disease is progressive disease. There we have a wonderful concept like Vardhamana Yoga Prayoga. So I just narrate one simple example here. We use, this is a small convenient for all the practitioners. You can choose any drug. I'm just giving one example. Chausashta Prahara Pipali is available in the market by many companies. I'm not specifying any company. The standard dosages will be there. So day 1, you give only one Chausashta Prahara Pipali in the morning with Madhudaka. Day 2, 2. Day 3, 3. Day 4, 4. Day 5, 5. Day 6 also 5. Then 4, 3, 2, 1. If you stop, this is called one cycle. This will help the patient to have a better metabolic adaptations. So second round, if you want to start, leave 1 week or 10 days gap. Then you go for second round starting from 5 tablets as a single dose. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So this is called second cycle. So you need to be more cautious when you are starting the second cycle onwards, because you need to exclude the Grishma Rutu, Pitta Prakriti and Rakta Sara Purushas. These 3 should be avoided for this type of Vardhamana Prayogas if you are going for Pipali. If you are going for some other drug, the relevant calculations will apply. So another important Vardhamana Prayogas, you know about Ballataka Dashaka. We use Ballataka, Amrita Ballataki Rasayana. This also we take in bulk. Our postgraduate scholars help us in rendering all such managements with a proper hygiene, adapting hygiene. They make even small 200 to 250 mg tablets, pills. They give 1 tablet in the morning, 2, 3, 4, 5 on 5th day, 6th day also 5, then taper. So we use only specific formulation of Amrita Ballataki Lehyas. It is not good to mention companies on the dialysis, so I am not mentioning, but we ensure the quality of the product, then only we use. We are not going for number of preparations available in the market. Broth, Amrita Ballataki Lehya, we use like this. So second cycle we do increase the dosage like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like that. So this can be adapted into autoimmune mechanisms. This can be adapted into degenerative mechanisms. Yeah. So Lekanabastis, I'm not going to do into that. Udakas, we have modified another area for all chronic diseases. We are fastening the clinical efficacy. For that, we are using Udakas, like Madhudaka. Madhudaka is one of the best Udaka for treating obesities. How much Madhu and how much Udaka? How much Madhu and how much Udaka should be prescribed to the person? 25 ml of pure Madhu, stirred properly into 100 ml of water. Constantly it should be stirred before consuming. Otherwise, honey will be sedimented in the bottom. They consume only water. So I'm not, because of the time paucity, I'm not going for other Udakas. So you know, there are multiple areas, multiple tools, astras available for us, like Ayaskruti. Actually, we did one dissertation on Ayaskruti. Actually, we focused on studying the diabetic controls with Ayaskruti, but we found very good results with metabolic controls of the disease. So now we in future will study exclusively Ayaskruti and its metabolic efficacies. So Chandraprabhavati, Arogyavardhanivati, you know, urogenital area where the mechanisms are there. Panchamrita Parpati with Jiraka when you want to correct the, target the intestines. Loha, Shilajit, Habrakabhasma, etc. Bahiparmadhya Chikitsas have been well narrated earlier. So you know about this, we don't. So few drugs which I would like to remind you. Grahi drugs like Sunti, Gajapipali can be thought, Aragvada can be thought, Haritaki can be thought, Katuki, Chedana, Pachana and Lekana. So as we are using these three gunas, which are very, very pivotal in handling the metabolic conditions like obesities, we should be more cautious. It is as good as bad also. So you should be more cautious in handling these conditions, because we see a lot of cases in Hyderabad. They give Lekanabasti for 7 days continuously without proper care. On 4th day or 5th day, patient collapses on the table. Then they look here and there. They run pillar to post. Because that is a complication. You need to make the formulation, adaptations properly, then only you can go for clinical delivery. Otherwise, you will find a lot of areas. So, Chavyadi Saktu is one area. Badari Patra Kalka, if you have lipomas, small lipomas or small fat globules located in any area, you can go for Badari Patra Kalka Lepanas. Vidangadi Mantha is one option. And Karshana Yavagu with Goduma, Haranya Goduma. This is also important. As we are handling Ruksha Guna of Vata in handling Medoroga, we should be more cautious in supplementing on and off with Snehana also. So you should not keep the patient completely on Rukshana line of management for a longer duration. So after you have treated the patient has come to the normal readings. I mean, patient is okay. You want to maintain him, the weight and metabolism on that grounds. Then this type of principles will come to help you. Triphala Gugulu, 2 tablets, 1 gram at bedtime, once a day, with Abhayarista, 30 ml with Madhudaka. 30 ml of Abhayarista, 25 ml of Madhu, and 100 ml of Udaka as a single dose. And Lakshmi Vilasaras Naradiya, 250 mg, once a day. Navaka Gugulu, 2 at 6 a.m. You need not give all these tablets all the days. So start with Navaka Gugulu, 2 tablets at 6 a.m. 1 gram in the morning for 7 days. I'm giving you 1 month schedule. So first week you give Navaka Gugulu 2 tablets once in the morning with Madhudaka. In the afternoon give Lakshmi Vilasaras 1 tablet. Night Triphala Gugulu 1 gram with Abhayarista Madhudaka addition. 1 week. And 1 week you give Kshirabala 101 Avarti for 1 week. So it's a perfect management for the obesity maintenance. You do it like 3 months and see patient metabolism will be continuing. You need not interfere. If there is any further requirement, you can go for a small spell of additional managements. So coming to the last part of conclusion, I would like to acknowledge the whole team of Samyojanam for bringing me here and making me a part of this, and WAP Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, and whole India team, which are galaxy of experts present from here, present here from WAP. I bow my head and offer my namaskarams to all of you, and Ramakrishna ji, and Premanand ji, Gajanan ji, Anand ji, and I can enlist everybody here, and my dear Guruji, I always admire every day morning. I remember his name and start my work. Dr. Anjaney Murthy sir, sir, for your presence and blessings, I bow to your feet, sir. And each one of you for your presence and patience. Thank you so much. Oh, take it. So this you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge and obesity and make us giving a particular approach towards the management of obesity. Now I request the session chairperson, Dr. Halima Prabhu sir, to share his opinion.
Very good evening. I won't take much time, more than 1 minute. We used to say first son in the family, last speaker in the function have got their limitations, but within limited time, sir has elaborated a lot of things. In Kerala, one story was there. A obese patient consulted number of doctors, even he didn't get a result. Then somebody suggested him to go and consult a Ashtavedya. He consulted one of the Ashtavedya. Ashtavedya examined his nadi, and he says that within 1 mandala, 48 days, you are going to die. No treatment is available for you. After 50th day, a lean patient came to him. He says, I will put a case on you. A lean patient says, because you have told I am going to die, but see, I have reduced my weight. Then the Ashtavedya says, give me my consultation and give 10,000 rupees. Because I have given you the treatment in the form of bhaya. So this was the small story in Kerala. So anyhow, when we have seen in the inauguration session, JSS Swamiji told metabolic disorder, the relation is with cultural movement. And the first session, Dr. Srinivas Wadayar says very nicely, and Dr. Srinivas Bannigold sir, chairperson, told, says how Santarpana Vyadhi, endocrine glands very well. And then Dr. Manjunath sir also mentioned about the snoring in metabolic disorders. So in the USA, the budget of women's spending on to reduce their weight is equal to twice the budget of our Karnataka budget. So that is the biggest problem in the US and other countries. And sir has told very good both Tatvanishta and Vastunishta. So Vastunishta, number of medicines sir told, like Navayasa Loha. Usually one concept is there, the dravyas which have the quality outside, when the same dravyas will convert it into the medicine, they will exhibit the same quality. Rice, when we rice, jawar, godi, when we will keep outside, it will stay for years together. When the same jawar, godi converted to food, they will nourish us the body. Loha, cutting in nature, when converted into medicine, work as a lekhana. So some concepts are there. And sir also mentioned the Lakshmi Vilasa Rasa. If we see the Gangadhar Shastri Gune's book, Lakshmi Vilasa Rasa is worked on the Rasadhatu. So by that it will reduces the fat, etc. So likewise, a number of things sir told. And one more is Kala Bhojanam Arogya Shrestha. So one thing sir told about the water before, cold water before food. So in Roganutpadani Adhyaya, or vegan na dhare, one vega is the trishna. So we have to consume the water whenever the thirst is there. Probably sir has of the thinking that consuming before water will make the Agni Mandya, by that indirectly it may reduces the stole, etc. So overall, the entire presentation is a good on both Vastunishta, that is, even though the title is principles, so Vastunishta and Tatvanishta, both medicines as well as the principles, sir has told are very good, and it's very useful for our students. And thank you, sir, for your good presentation. Thank you.
Now is the time for felicitation. I request Dr. Suresh Jakoti sir, Head Chikitsa Prakoshta, Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad, to facilitate our Honorable Resource Person, Dr. Shrikanta Babu Peragu, and I request our session co-chairperson and the co-chairperson to join for the felicitation. Thank you, Ananda, for your